Alright guys, so here we are, it's race 3 of the evening, Lime Rock Park, and this is BSR Touring Cars round 6. So got another cracking start this race, really sorted out those starts, which is great. But obviously starting 13th, don't have much of a choice. And I get a little tap from behind, and my correction sends me off. At this point I get a slow down penalty, so I'm trying to clear that, and I'm on the outside of the track and I make a horrific error. Straight across, don't want to cut back on too soon. And yeah, I tried to cut back on really late, but unfortunately Rusty and Alex had their own incident, which come into the side of me. So I picked up a little bit, well, quite a bit of damage to the right front of my car. But I'm still in the race, which is the main thing. And after a good result in race 1, good result in race 2, my aim for this race was a solid top 10 finish. So that had pretty much gone out the window. But at least I'm still in the race. So you've got Ben Gregory ahead, that's Jay Wright, the Angry Beaver Racing team. And Rusty Laidler ahead of him. So at the moment I'm thinking I need to get around Jay and stick with Rusty. As Rusty's a very fast driver and he'll be picking his way through the pack, so I can hopefully pick up a few places alongside with him. Lucky I was able to get around Ben and Jay all on that one lap. So now it's a case of getting your head down and bridging that little gap. Hopefully the cars, these 4 cars ahead of me, can bridge the little gap to the train ahead of them, and then who knows what could happen. So at this point I was pretty sad after the first lap where I was, but now I've seen so many cars ahead of me, I'm hoping I can salvage something out of this. So I think this car ahead of me is Alex Smolensky. He's a lap down. Obviously involved in that incident with Rusty on lap 1. And had to take to the pits, unfortunately. And I took that little dance as go for the overtake, which I did. So I'm not too sure who this is Rusty's caught up with, but whoever it was has slowed him down enough just for me to catch back up to the tail. I think it's Dan Blake ahead of me actually now. Once again, if my memory serves me correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. Me and Dan had a good battle in the Global Racing Series on iRacing in the Kias this week. Something I've found it's quite an interesting race because you've got the Cadillacs mixed in with the Kias, and some of the drivers at the back of the Cadillac field are pretty bad, so it always makes for an interesting race. Very wide round that corner, and wide round that one as well. Could have set myself up better for this final corner. Don't think I've got the legs to get round Dan. As you can see, Rusty's now on to his next victim. And I wanted to get by Dan, which was easier said than done. I think there may have been a 0x contact then. Just gave Dan a tiny little bump. Oh dear. Don't want to drop down a second. We well know in race 2, I think Julian Janowski dropped down to first in the second corner and blew his engine up. It doesn't take much. One dodgy downshift, and that's it, your race is done. And Dan, that was unlucky, just caught some grass on the exit of turn 1. And if you do that, you've got to get out the gas, because otherwise you're going to be spinning across the track, which he did, and enabled me to just go around the outside easily. But if he hadn't done that, it would have been a hard pass to make, I think. Sometimes it's really hard to get around someone. You've got to fill up their mirrors, put yourself in a position where they're going to think that you're going for an overtake, possibly in a weird part of the track, to get them thinking, put them off their game a bit, and then as soon as they make a mistake, you pounce. So I believe this is now, we've got Rusty and John Roberts John's just been overtaken, and that's Rob Graham ahead of Rusty now. I don't know about you, but every time I see Rusty written on the back of that car, I think it says Krusty. In my mind, he's Krusty the Clown. Don't know what happened to John there. He got in on the grass on the left-hand side. Wasn't able to get the drive out the corner. Ooh, I remember this bit. So Rusty went for the overtake on Rob. They both went wide. I saw a gap. I think Rob tried to come back, but I was already there. So he just drove into the side of me. He wouldn't have known I was there at the time, I'd imagine. So no harm done. And as I had the line, I just, put my foot down, and that was that. Everyone likes two for the price of one. So now we've got bigger gap to bridge. My teammate Dan Craft is at the back of this group ahead, and Simon is 4 cars into it. So Simon's got the orange markings on his car, and Dan's got the pink markings. And obviously I'm hoping as there's a group of about 7 or 8 of them up there, they're going to be slowing themselves down a bit. I'll put myself down, put my head down, sorry, and get some solid laps in. I'd be able to bridge the gap. I mean, this kind of made me happy at the time. I got Cats come out ahead of me, which bridged the gap completely. Well, put a car in the middle of the gap. I think this is John Bayes giving us all room on the right. And so yeah, sorry, he put his car in there, bridged the gap, so I got a bit of draft. But unfortunately he's come out with cold tyres. And so he wasn't quite able to get back up to speed straight away. I was on my flow, on the rhythm. And so I just wanted past at that point. I don't think it was going to happen. So at this point, I was pretty much caught up to that group ahead a lap ago because of the compromised exits. We've dropped back again. Probably another second or 2 back. But Andy's tyres are now up to speed, so it's just one of those things, I think. He's going to be trying to salvage some points. I know. I think he was in 19th, and I think 18th was a few cars up the road, so he was wanting to make up as much points as he could. The only thing I was wondering after this race is if, you know, 3 laps ago, or how many, 2 or 3 laps ago, whatever it was, when we caught back up to this group, if we hadn't have had those mistakes around these 2 corners and lost those 2 seconds, it would have given me more time to attack this group. And obviously at the moment there's a car a lap down ahead, so there's, you know, I can't do anything at the moment. I think desperate times call for desperate moves, but I managed to get around. And after this, there wasn't any attacks from behind from Andy, so didn't have to worry about that, which was cool. You see that, I think that's Eckhart on the left, who Andy was racing, trying to catch up with. And he's sneaked in, he's behind me now. Sneaked that position through, coming through with the leaders. It's Paul Smith running wide on the exit of the last corner. It's enabled David ahead of me to get through, and I just snuck through behind. That was Kevin checking out the wall. It's a very nice wall to check out as well. And that was that. That was all she wrote. So I think after the horrific first lap I had, I think yes, I come away with 8th in that race, and pretty good considering. It was pretty much at the back of the pack. Fought my way through a bit. And some good battles along the way. So just hope for equally as good races next week. I wouldn't imagine, I can't say I'm going to finish top 10 in each 3 race again, but that is the goal. So yeah, like and subscribe, and I will catch you next week.